So it doesn't look like cool stuff to you. It just looks like here's this little phone that sits around like this, and here's another phone that sits around like that, and it's got handsets, and here's these funny little things that wish they were like smartphones. They kind of think everybody says, well, why would I have something like this? It's not even as good as my smartphone, right? Well, kind of. So one of the best ways to talk about these things is to illustrate them with how they're applied, the little story of usage. And so while my primary go-to device is this device right here, okay, this is a 24 button set. We have a 36 button set. Great. Well, what do I need all those buttons for? I don't have that many lines, but it also gives you visibility of who's on the phone, so you can see immediately, or you use that same button to transfer a call. Oftentimes in an environment where people are handling calls, you put the call on hold, and then you can page through the whole system and said, Don line 3. And Don sees, oh yeah, electronic type world. But I brought some more things today that will show you that maybe that's not so friendly. This guy is very close to what Sean's running on right now. Sean has one person that he deals with in the organization. Was I supposed to say that? No.
That's fine.
Okay. And so when he puts a call on hold in this device, it's on this device, period. If he gets a second call, it doesn't show up like it does on this device. You can't see a line 1, a line 2, line 3 like you can here. So as you get into the situation where you have multiple calls to handle, multiple people that need to manage those calls, devices that give you that kind of support and visibility become quite helpful in the organization. Okay? With this kind of guy, you're sitting here, and if you really want to put this on hold and pick it up someplace else, it's a process called park, and it's dial a code, and then you have to dial a code to get it back. And is it on parking lot 1, parking lot 2, parking lot 20? Where is it? How do you communicate all that? Yeah, it's a little bit more work. Okay, so it's not something I'm a big fan of. I had a client that, a millennial attorney that says, we're moving out, I'm getting rid of that partner of mine, and I want to host it. And I said, fine. I hooked him right up. And all of his people said, can we have our Panasonic back, please? This thing, I can't transfer the call. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because they were so comfortable with something that's very easy to manage. You know, you take half the automatic things that you're used to, you take them away from them, and suddenly not so friendly anymore. So it's a little different. You say, oh, this is a black phone, that's a black phone. Well, they're identical, except they're not. Okay. Then I brought a couple of these guys. And a related story, on Monday I put a system in Los Feliz, and the guy has all-round rooms. There's no corners. There is no corners, okay? The architect 100 years ago when they built it said, the devil hides in the corner. So there is no corners. Everything is radius. But the other problem that he was having is, if you look at the way, the house is up on top of a hill. So it's like, you know, you go up this driveway is radius, no corners. It's up about, from the main floor, it's about 4 stories down to the gate. Well, the gate would quit working on his old system. So he didn't know if there was somebody at the gate or not, so he finally had to put his own number up there. And then they would call him on a home line, which he didn't want advertised in the front of his house. You can well imagine that. And then he couldn't open the gate because that control function was gone too. So he'd have to walk down the driveway, down about basically, 3 stories, open the gate, and let people come up. And he's not 19. He didn't think that was much fun. So he said, let's get this fixed. So we got him hooked up, found out that the cable was bad as well. So he's putting a new cable, he's got his people trenching and all that stuff, because those guys are property guys, they've got people that do that kind of thing hanging around. But what we hooked him up with was something like this, and I put some special buttons on here. So before he didn't have the ability just to scroll down through this thing and push one button and the gate opened. Okay. He didn't have the ability to scroll down, push one button, and talk through the speaker at the gate. What are you doing down there? Who are you? I got 30 seconds to get out of my crosshairs. So that gave him a ton of relief because he was getting real tired walking up and down that driveway. You know, and that's maybe not so bad in the day, but it's even more of a pain in the neck in the night. So that was a big relief for him. That's some of the functionality of some of the portability of something like this. It also gives him the ability to have all the lines that he wants. This will hold 12 outside lines. How many in the room have 12 outside lines in your office? That's what I thought. Okay.
You do.
I can have as many as I want. Sometimes I have 12 systems in there, but that's another story. Okay. So you have the ability to do that, and you can carry it around and have it anywhere, and it makes it very, very friendly. Okay. So that's another attribute going on here. Some of this other stuff I brought along because I've got a guy that's moving out of Newport Coast. He's downsizing to 6,400 square feet in Corona Del Mar. And I'll have to get some pictures of this house because it is way cool. I mean, I know you like the house that I showed you, Ron, that you immediately adopted. That's really a nice house. This has got some other things that are really cool too. Like, it's shaped like a U, and this one whole wall opens up, sliding door. Oh. You walk right out to the pool. Is that cool or what? Okay. But in their infinite wisdom, the people that built this thing put no cable in it. Well, he just wants to move. Okay, he's got a business that runs out of his house, been running it for years. It paid for his house in Newport Coast. Okay, got Kobe's backyard. And it's going to continue to pay for the house that he's moving down here in Corona Del Mar. So obviously the business is something he doesn't want to lose track of. It's hard to make things work without cables, without wires. How do you make these phones talk? Well, these little guys, you plug in one, and then you feed on one side and you receive on the other side. A cable goes in, a cable comes out. It comes in, it goes out, and it works. Unless you have multiple panels in your house. You have a big enough house, you'll have more than one electrical panel, and then it doesn't work. So that was a great idea. Now what do we do? Well, there's some things that will also connect to Wi-Fi and bring down a cable. Okay, that will give me the connectivity to bring this all through his house because I can connect to the existing Wi-Fi. So I'm going to use the Wi-Fi in lieu of cables. Well, that didn't exactly come in the instruction book when I started in this game 40 years ago. Why is that? Wi-Fi wasn't here. Wi-Fi didn't exist. Everybody put cables in the house like you're supposed to. But didn't have it, so what do we do? Well, we'll find out. We'll make it all work. So part of where I'm going with all of this is what looks like something simple and simple and simple. Sometimes it gets a little bit more than just simple to make all this come together for somebody. And that's the ongoing thing in telephony. It continues to grow, evolve, take new faces of sorts and new challenges. So that's probably as much as I need to confuse you with at one time. I think I might have to go over and put a couple of these in the guy's pocket that's living in your house, Ron. I'm very sorry about that. Oh, I think I sent him a message that I had a buyer for that. I wonder, I didn't get a response back. I'll let you know if he decides he wants to let you move into your house. Isn't that nice?
Sounds good.
So nice.
All right, so with that question. Like,
yeah, do you do internet-based solutions?
Absolutely.
Where it's like
absolutely.
voice over internet protocol?
Voice over internet, yes. Voice over internet protocol. Okay. This phone looks like a desk phone, but this is a network cable. If it's working on a network, it is voice over internet protocol. Now, when you say voice over internet protocol, you're probably thinking of the VoIP phones that you see advertised that are probably a lot like this. And if you were paying attention very closely, you know some of the reasons that this is not the perfect solution in many cases. However, that doesn't mean that voice over internet protocol in itself is bad, okay? Most of my customers I've migrated to SIP trunks. SIP trunks are a voice over internet protocol. It goes to a cabinet, the cabinet then passes the information to the phone. So while you're not sitting at station, 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 and nothing in the middle, you have something that interfaces and ties all the phones together in what's called a premise-based unit. So the answer is yes. I don't know, 12, 14 years, something like that. And, oh, as long as you bring that up, another cool trick. If I had this set up and I had no interference with routers and firewalls and stuff like that, I could plug this in to the internet connection over there, and it would go and connect to my demo PBX in the office, and it would be an extension just as if I was in the office. So I have that kind of VoIP portability. I have some of those right now in Cedars-Sinai. People built a warehouse. They do hair restoration and stuff, so they don't really like me showing up because I'm not a good, product image for their for what they sell. You too may be that.
Good candidate.
And so what happens is they couldn't get their VPN together, which is another way to make these connect. So I upgraded their system, put this feature in there, shipped them over to the warehouse, done. Then one of their guys decided he wanted to move in San Diego. Take it with you, plug it in, we're good. That's simple. So a lot of portability on that VoIP solution. Yes?
So with that phone, the bigger one, the car, so if you have like 8 lines coming in, you can see all 8 lines and then you can see who's on those lines?
Yes. This has, let me get a good picture of it here. 12 buttons here. Then there's a little button here that says next page. Now I have 24 buttons functioning. And the larger version of this, or the little bigger screen, has page 1, page 2, page 3, 36 buttons. So you can see all of your lines. You can see people that are on the phone, because I'll take those buttons and make them such that you can see that they're there. It also provides the ability to say, yeah, just a moment, please, I'll transfer the call. You push the assigned button, and it goes right to Carla's desk, because I can see that Carla's not on the phone. Okay. At that point, I say, Carla, do you want the call? Or I just push the Carla button, hang up, Carla's phone is ringing. That simple.
If she doesn't want to talk, they can leave a message. Right?
Well,
Oh, Carla,
okay, so since you asked that question, I have a button that I call VTR in the system. And I say, Carla, do you want to take this call? Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to him either. So I go back to the client and I said, yeah, she's kind of busy, would you like voicemail? Just a minute. I hit my VTR button, I hit my Carla button, I hang up, and the system knows that I said, send this directly to voicemail. You don't have to deal with it. There are some people that have mailboxes that if it's a solicitation call, we have a special mailbox for them. Right in there, it dies a natural death, nobody's ever disturbed. Oh, I don't know, is there an Undertaker around here somewhere? We just did that.
Keeps them on the line for a while at first, then drop us.
Yeah.
No, for as long as they want to leave a message, they can leave it. I'll set the mailbox up so it kills the message after 24 hours or something, and it just goes away.
Please hold, I'm really interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ron wants more information on mailboxes that say, please hold, I'm really interested.
Absolutely.
I can help you right in. I can take care of that, Ron. Fix you right up. Fix you right up. Any other questions that I can help you with today? Oh, look at there. I've got 17 minutes left.
Are most of the companies that you're dealing with now going more VoIP based?
Yes, because it's a big buzzword. It's cool. It's really, really cool. And just like I explained to this attorney, in this attorney situation, where they jumped into it, and of course he's not there, he doesn't have to manage anything, he just, you know, he has staff to take care of all this stuff. But the staff weren't all that happy with it. So, but it's to get into, it's very cost effective to get into.
Yeah.
You know, you spend $100 or something like that, $125, depending on how fancy a phone you want. The other problem with that though is, this guy, yeah, $20, $30 a seat. So let's just take 20 bucks, okay? If I put 10 of these in an office, that's 200 bucks a month, right? Reoccurring, forever, okay? Rent,
Yeah.
right? Okay? Now, if I put this kind of system in, and I can put 8 lines on this, so everybody could be on the phone at the same time. You could have as many phones as you want, I don't care. If you want 300, 400, it doesn't matter. Okay. If I do it this way, I can get you 8 lines for 80 bucks a month. So, $80 a month, $200 a month.
Cheaper than my 2 lines.
Okay, so where's our math? Yeah, don't we have a math professor in here? Oh, that's Bailey, never mind. So you can kind of see where that sounds really good when you're looking at a 1, but you can see how it doesn't look to be so good when you start looking at a 10. Questions? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's just
Full
that,
spectrum.
from a flexibility standpoint, when someone's moving, you know, the internet doesn't move, you just, so it's so easy to.
Glad you mentioned that. Remember I told you about the guy
Went to San Diego, yeah.
in Newport Coast? So
Yeah.
I put his system, or actually there's the other one in Cedar Sinai, is another one. Here's their cabinet. All is set up so as soon as I plug to the internet, bang, it goes right out to the server and connects, okay? So I take it out of Cedar Sinai and we walk down to their new offices in Culver City, plug it into the internet, guess what? They're alive again. It doesn't care. The SIP service provider doesn't care where it comes from, as long as it's not, you know, on a blacklist somewhere. It's just going to connect, and they're right back in business. So the portability of the lines is simple compared to, what time will you port my lines, ATT? Oh, about then? You think it might be? Kinda? Sorta? So yeah, it's immense simplicity on a comparative basis.
Unless your internet goes down.
Well, if your internet goes down, good question. Now what happens if the internet goes down in this solution? You have this kind of situation, don't you? You have a hosted phones? You have a hosted phone? The internet goes down, what happens? You're out of luck, SOL, right?
Yeah.
SOL, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. If I use my SIP provider, what happens as soon as the system sees that this is no longer connected, it drops to another number, which then would be your cell number.
No.
Oh, so now what happens? Now, a designated person in your organization is getting your calls. They also get to be the receptionist, because what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, just a minute, I'll have CJ call you back in just a second. You know? So, boom, take the message, call CJ, they call on cell, but your business is still running because we have this redundancy thing called cell phones. If you had a second office, you could follow the second office. Okay. So, glad you brought that up. Yeah, much improved over. And
That's good.
I've had it happen on mine. I was down in San Diego doing something very important on a golf course, and I noticed my calls were coming directly to my cell phone, and must have an internet problem down. So, any other questions? Everybody gets it?
Yeah.
Everybody's comfortable now?
Get the man.
Very good. Thank you.